Alright. So, really good here, you know, he says he's your opponent, or some people, you know, say that guy is your opponent, or but over there is your opponent. So we got your match is against Kuroiwa. Okay, your opponent. Yeah, most people got it. Yeah, opponent. Yeah, I think it's important to. Some people said, you know, your match or your fight, but because he says, I said, you know, my opponent. It's always good to kind of repeat the same word. So your opponent is Kuroiwa, and then Sanshiro can go, my opponent. So it kind of makes it easier. So, or as long as you do some kind of, you know, toitsu. So like if you say, your match is against Kuroiwa. My match, Tenno-san. Tenno-san is, she's in the computer. Yeah, like Mari said. She said, your match is against Kuroiwa. I have a match. Which is pretty long, right? I have a match. What would you, how did you make it shorter and make it sound more like he's surprised? Yeah, a match. How would you make it more specific to him as a character? My match. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, match, yeah. Yeah, another thing we talked about in the other class too is whenever you can, because we don't really use this so much in Japanese, you know? Like my and your and the personal pronouns, right? Watashi no nantoka. It's always assumed. Of course it's his match. Watashi no. You would never say that in Japanese. But in English you would, my match? You know, my, always mine. Everything's mine, you know? So, yeah. Like when your car gets smashed, you know? You're driving, you come out, someone's hit your car, what's your first thought, Kumiko, in native English?
My car is in red.
Yeah, my car! Yeah, you don't think a car, or I have a car, or the car's been hit or smashed, you know? Yeah. So usually. Or who's got a kid? Does anybody have any children? Yeah? So when your child falls down, what do you think? And they're crying, you know.
Shut up.
Shut up. Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Damare. Yeah. My daughter. Yeah, probably think my baby or baby. You don't think that?
Not exactly.
Oh, really? Okay. Is that because you pushed her down? No? Yeah, mommy dearest.
First of all, did you have fun with the homework? Right? And there's going to be another copywriting class, and it's going to be even harder. You're going to be stuck with me again, picking on your copy. So ask questions now. Right? You've got other ones that you've done. Right? We've talked about a lot of stuff really quickly. Right? I'm sure there's some stuff that you're not 100% sure on. So you're all going to be quiet again? Man. Maybe I talk too much. That's the problem, isn't it? You guys think you can get away with not talking. What do you think? If you had to ask, what do you think of copywriting? What do you think's hard about it? What did you have the most trouble with?
Choosing the right word.
Choosing the right words? Did anybody find that they found something that they really loved but didn't work? Did anybody find that? Sometimes when you'll be writing something, you'll come up with a line you fall in love with, that you just love, right? It's this perfect English. It's just beautiful. You look at it and you go, wow, I can't believe I thought that. Yeah! Right? And then you go and you think about the movie and you look at it with the movie and you go, but it doesn't match. But it's so beautiful. It's like my little baby. Oh, I love it. Right? It's going to happen to you when you write. You're going to find stuff you fall in love with. I've written, like when I'm writing screenplays or writing other things, I run into these like sections that I fall in love with, and then I'll go back and read it and the section doesn't work. It's either it's either too good that it doesn't fit into the story correctly, or it just doesn't fit the story, and it's this beautiful line, and I have to take this baby that I born, put a gun to the head, and pull the trigger, right? Stealing your line, right? I pulled the trigger. Yep. Right? You're going to have to do these things. Some of your best stuff you have to cut. All right? Writing is not it's like sculpting. Okay? If you've ever listened to Leonardo da Vinci or or I shouldn't say listen because he's dead, but in his writings or any other sculptor, they talk about how they have the stone, and their job is to remove the stone because the sculpture is already there. Writing is the same. That crap I'm talking about throwing on the wall, get that white page, what you're doing is you're building your stone. Right? The key for a writer is, one, you need to find the stone. You need to get the stone there. Then your goal is no longer writing, it's eliminating what you don't need. Figuring out ways to reword it so that it's simpler, or clearer, or communicates the message behind what you're trying to say even more.
See, I think, yeah, a lot of you avoided that.
I don't even know how to use for the people got it,
If you're like a president or something, or wanting to be a president, and it's political. I think you could just say it's a social event. And that's enough.
So it's a meat market.
You could,
Meat market.
it's a meat market.
That sounds great.
We want people to meet and then have babies so that we have more people and then society can continue.
With a virtuous circle.
With a virtuous, yes, that's a virtuous circle. As long as you're married. But yeah, that's definitely, when you look at a phrase like that, what do you do with it? And I see most of you kind of ignored it. Good job. Yeah. It's like, okay.
I use that.
Hmm?
Yeah, the government.
Oh,
For people, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's see here.
But now I understand that this Japanese meaning, 社会人の中の社会人による社会人がある。
It is very blurry.
The event by working people for working people. So yeah, it's basically it's organized by amateurs and amateurs go there. So yeah, it's a little more low scale. It's not for profit. And I think that's what they're trying to say. It's not big scale, it's not for profit. It's just showing that we can all get together and do something fun. And it doesn't take a huge company and a lot of money and that sort of thing. So I think that's kind of their message, maybe. I'm inferring that with my incredible intellect.
You have to decide, well, am I going to write onigiri in domaji because I think I want the audience to learn that word, or am I going to write rice ball because I want them to understand it immediately, right? These are sort of questions that we will constantly have to ask ourselves. And as far as onigiri and rice ball, I don't think there's just one clear answer. I think it depends on the film. I think it depends on the situation and also the audience, okay? All right, very good. We're off to a very good start. So today, since it's the first lesson on subtitling, we're going to go through the general rules, the general guidelines. So if you guys can take out this big pamphlet, and so I'll pick one up. Good. Right. When we did the orientation, I think we gave you sort of an abridged version, sort of a simplified list of rules. And you know, that generally works, but we're going to show you a little bit more specifically what sorts of things we have to pay attention to. Okay? So we're just going to go down the line, and you guys can stop me at any time if you have any questions, if I'm not making sense. You can stop me and ask questions. All right. Well, number 0, this is just, this goes without saying, but these are just things to recheck after finishing the translation. One thing that one of the, or not one of, a lot of the other teachers say is that translation or any sort of writing is rewriting, meaning nobody, no matter how smart you are, no matter how much experience you have, can just, just write one draft and here you go, turn it in, and it's perfect. I don't think there's anybody in the world who can do that. And what that means is that even professionals, even people with a lot of experience, will write, and they will keep rewriting and just keep making it better and better and better. And there isn't really sort of a finishing point. A lot of writers, a lot of translators tend to be perfectionists, and they see no end to it. You do have to draw the line somewhere, but the point is, the more you rewrite, the more you polish, it's just always going to be better, and you could always have people check it. So always keep that in mind. Don't ever think, well, I have enough experience now, I think I can just skip the whole check part, the whole rewriting part. That day will never come, okay? So just please keep that in mind. Okay, basic stuff, grammar stuff, quotations, punctuations, please check those. That's what that's saying. Okay, so number one, these are the technical rules, and which most of it will be familiar to you from the orientation, but the maximum number of characters is 40 characters per each line, and I'm just gonna, some of this might be repetition for you, but characters include spaces and punctuations, okay? Some people just always forget about the spaces, because when I say characters, it just means the physical space that it takes up on the screen, okay? And 12 characters per second. This is the sort of the big limiting factor about subtitles, because without this limit, you can just put any amount of information on the screen. But of course, we can't read all that, and we'll see that when we play the DVD version. I think we can just skip this frame rate part. Yeah?
It's 12 characters per second. That doesn't count as space.
Oh, right. Yeah. This is a little bit complicated. Let me try to explain. If it doesn't make sense, you can come ask me later. 40 characters per line. Okay, let's say this is 0 and this is 100. You can only fit 40 characters on here because if you put any more, it'll just fall off the screen, right? But 12 characters per second is the number of characters that is theoretically how much a person can read on screen. And what she's asking is, when people...
Translation here. So what are the other ways we could talk about omnibus eiga? Does anyone know them? No? I think we discovered no one knew them, right? So we can talk about your film notebook. We haven't talked about the other notebook. We'll talk about that later, all right? I haven't forgotten. So the two other terms are a package film or a portmanteau film. These are the same as an omnibus film. They refer to the way in which one film might contain numerous things, numerous stories, maybe by different directors, maybe around a common theme. Okay.
Would you say, Jonathan, that they're less sort of technical? Because I actually didn't think omnibus was particularly technical. I know it's not used in the broader usage.
No, I think these are even more technical than omnibus. Package film doesn't sound so technical as in English, but it's rarely used. Portmanteau sounds like you're a French film scholar. Very rarely used. So in fact, omnibus really is our best choice here, probably. Okay, now you're wondering, are we just going to be talking about words all day? Let's look at some different examples. Okay, we asked Yoko to read that for us, and I just wanted to read some different ways in which you responded to this. For example, Mayuko wrote, the concept, multinational omnibus film, gathering Asia's talented film directors is a very fresh idea, isn't it? Someone else, Mayumi wrote, I feel the concept of multinational omnibus movies is very original. It is produced by the talented directors of Asia. Noriko, the concept of multinational omnibus film with collective talents in Asia is very innovative. And finally, Eriko, it was an innovative idea to gather talented people in Asia and make a multinational omnibus film. Okay, let's think about some issues here. One is the term talent. How is talent being used? How do we use talent in English? Can we collect talent? To assemble talent? Mayumi, what do you think?